They dragged her from the altar, not outside, from the altar. White communion cloths still on the table, choir robes still hanging. The pastor did not stop them. "Karashika!" someone screamed. Another woman slapped her.
"You let them slap me."
Phones were already recording, and the man of God stood still, eyes down, silent. 3 hours earlier, she had been leading praise and worship. Now she is the reason a church collapsed. But what nobody understood was, why didn't the pastor run away with her? Because he ran away alone, and that caused even more tension. Let's go back and see how it all began. This was not one of those scandal churches. Everybody knew this church to be a respected, disciplined, and structured one. The pastor, 18 years of marriage, 2 children, a growing ministry. The pastor was known for one thing: control. He controlled his sermons, his image, his emotions. Then she arrived, widowed at 24, soft-spoken, always early for choir rehearsals. She never flirted, never lingered, but that's what made it dangerous. Nobody asked the most important question: why would a careful man of God suddenly risk everything? It started with counseling sessions, late evenings, office door closed. He told the elders she needs deliverance. She told her only friend, he says, "I have a calling." Small things changed. Eye contact lasted longer. Conversations became layered. Silence became heavy. He began defending her during meetings. Too quickly, too strongly. People noticed, and church WhatsApp groups began whispering. Then storm came. Yes, real storm, literally. Thunders cracked the sky. Power went out. Only the pastor's office generator stayed on. CCTV failed that night, and only 2 persons were in that office. Next morning, she was crying. She looked hollow. By evening, emergency elders meeting. By Sunday, he resigned. By Monday, he was gone. The town had a verdict: Karashika. That became her new name, as all fingers pointed to her as the evil or Eve that causes the downfall of great men. But what they didn't know was that she had evidence to prove them all wrong.
Yes, we must be careful with her. Her presence brings chaos.
She recorded the last meeting, not because of love, because of fear. That night, she did not go for prayer. She went for questions. Church funds were missing. Large amounts transferred quietly. She confronted him, and the recording captured everything: his breathing, his anger, his confession, not of adultery, but of mismanagement. The deliverance session was actually audits, financial audits and questionings from her. Then he said something that shifted everything.
If I fall, I will not fall alone.
The story changes now because he had already told her he loved her. Yes, that was a few months ago. She refused him, gently, respectfully. He cried that day, a pastor crying in his office, saying he felt lonely, saying she understood him in ways his wife did not. Yet she walked away, and that was the first crack. The elders visited that night, not to accuse, but to negotiate.
For the sake of the church.
They
The
said,
church has taken.
for the sake of souls. They knew about the phones. They knew about the recording. They begged her to stay silent. Then his wife came. No shouting, no insults, just one sentence.
My children cannot survive this.
And suddenly, this was no longer about romance or reputation. It was about collateral damage. Meanwhile, edited photos spread online, fake screenshots, claims that she traveled with him. She did not. She didn't even leave town. He disappeared before auditors arrived, started a small fellowship in another state. Same sermons, same voice, different audience. He simply moved on and left her to suffer the damages. Now let that sink for a minute. This man kept preaching. This lady stopped attending church entirely. She resolved within her to delete all the recordings, and so she did. Yes, permanent delete. No backup, no leverage, nothing, because releasing it would collapse everything. The wife, the children, the building fund, the fate of hundreds. So she chose silence. Yet the village chose a name, Karashika. Months later, she started a small tutoring center. Quiet life, no choir, no spotlight, but sometimes at night, thunder still makes her freeze because storms remind her of offices with locked doors and men who confuse loneliness with entitlement. In the pastor's new church flyer, one line stands out: rebuilding after betrayal. He never said whose betrayal. And truth be said here, if she had exposed him, they would call her wicked and insensitive. Now, because she stayed silent, they called her dangerous. Either way, she becomes the villain. They said she seduced a man of God, but nobody asked who first crossed the line. Nobody asked why financial records disappeared. Nobody asked why he fled before investigation. It is easy to blame a woman, easy to say Karashika. But what if Karashika is just the name given to women who refuse to carry men's secrets? Was she protecting a family or protecting a system that would destroy another woman tomorrow? Because this was not the first time the town used that name, Karashika, and it will not be the last. Because next time a bride will disappear and they will whisper again, Karashika.